Olivier Blanchard, Economic Counselor of the IMF. In the new World Economic Outlook, do you still see this two-speed recovery?
Very much so. What you have is in advanced countries, you have slow growth, and growth which is insufficient to decrease what is very high unemployment. And then in emerging market countries, you see much faster growth, but not only this. I mean, you see countries which have gone back to potential, in which the issue is more overheating than the opposite.
So why are advanced economies not growing faster?
I think there are two reasons why advanced economies are not going faster. The first one is wounds from before the crisis. So for example, the housing boom. So housing investment in the US is still dismal. And then you have the wounds from the crisis, which is we had a large increase in public debt, so we need fiscal consolidation. Banks are still struggling to recapitalize and have a hard time lending. So all these factors are putting brakes on growth.
What can be done about that?
Well, you have to basically repair the various wounds at the right speed. So for example, on fiscal, you shouldn't do it too fast or too slow. If you do it too fast and you have a very sharp fiscal contraction, then you could kill growth. But if you do it too slow, then you may lose credibility. So the theme here is always the same one, which is you have to have a medium-term credible program for fiscal, but also for financial. We want banks to recapitalize, but not too fast, not at the expense of lending. And that's this balancing game which we have to succeed in doing.
Now, turning to emerging markets economies,
Right.
What should be the main priorities there?
So emerging market economies are in a very different situation from the advanced economies. They are facing overheating, and they are facing overheating in the face of large capital flows. So they have to follow the right macroeconomic policy, which is to increase interest rates, let the exchange rate appreciate. At the same time, they have to control risk, which always comes when there are large inflows. And so they have to use macroprudential tools and possibly capital controls.
What are the main risks right now to your forecast overall?
I think the main risk is probably in periphery Europe, in which the number of countries are facing very difficult fiscal and financial problems. There the policy is again to handle it at the right pace. An important starting point is for banks to be more transparent so that we know exactly where they stand. In that respect, the stress tests, which are now ongoing and are going to be announced, are clearly a very useful first step.
Olivier Blanchard, thank you.
Pleasure.